Hello and Hafade. My name is Regina De Leon Guerrero, and today I will be talking about Pacific Islander representation in the media. When I was younger, I saw my life in two distinct phases. My life in Bath, Maine, my early childhood, and my life in Saipan, my later childhood and early adulthood. For those of you that may not know, Saipan is a United States territory. It's a small island located north of Guam in Micronesia. My time in Maine shaped a lot of my identity, and for so long, anything that reminded me of New England felt deeply personal. Camp Walden in the Parent Trap was just like what I wanted out of Camp Chewonki in Wickaset, Maine. Stars Hollow in Gilmore Girls reminded me of my old hometown Bath. I had heard conversations before about diverse representation in media, but if I'm being honest, I don't think I fully understood it. At the time, I felt like I saw enough of myself. I didn't need a character to look just like me or for a family to be just like mine. I thought I saw us already, in little pieces, even if those pieces didn't quite fit. In today's talk, I will be exploring my personal relationship with Pacific Islander representation in media, why it's important, and what it means to me as a Pacific Islander woman. On Thanksgiving of 2016, I saw the film Moana in theaters for the first time, and it made me cry. There are some beautiful and poignant scenes in the film, but it wasn't that. What did it for me, honestly, was the background and the setting. The trees, plants, and flowers, they looked like the flora in my family's farm. Farms on Saipan aren't like farms on the U.S. mainland. They're just several acres or so of family-owned property with non-uniform crops like taro or sugarcane, small groves of fruit trees like calamansi, coconuts, soursop, and maybe the occasional pecking chicken or grazing cow. At least in my family, our farm was an integral part of our lives. My mom loved our land deeply, and she did the best to instill that into the entire family. In Moana, it was the first time I saw that love represented on screen. In this movie, I saw a side of myself and of my family represented in a way that I had never really thought about before. The tapestries in one of the opening scenes reminded me of the Fijian tapas that we used during my grandma's funeral. The boat that Moana uses, a sakman in my native language, it was documented as the first Pacifica boat by Ferdinand Magellan and his crew. Even the story of the people of Motunui was just like the story of mine. The ancient Chamorro people of the Marianas were historically ocean navigators. Colonization changed that. It stripped us of our cultural practices, and we were turned primarily into farmers. Pacific Islanders are severely underrepresented in the media. A 2021 article entitled "Female Asians and Pacific Islander Characters Are Still Objectified in Films" by Harmeet Kaur with CNN found that Asian and Pacific Islanders made up only 4.5% of leading characters in media. Specifically, Pacific Islanders, people of Melanesian, Micronesian, and Polynesian descent, made up only 12% of that original 4.5%. 12% of 4.5%. That's roughly only 0.0054% of leading characters in all media. According to the website TV Tropes, there are a total of about 15 films and 2 series titles that include a leading character of Pacific Islander descent. The most notable titles being Lilo and Stitch, Moana, Aquaman, and Hawaii Five-0. That's it. Representation in media matters. Not only does it create a space where a multitude of other people can share their stories and their specific experiences, but it allows audiences to see and understand what may not exist in their personal day-to-day lives. This shared space can be instrumental in understanding one another and seeing how truly multicultural and multifaceted our community really is. In Moana, I saw things that I had never really seen before in mainstream media. The titular character, a strong-willed woman with a deep love for her people, had phenotypical features that I had seldom seen on screen, especially for a main character. She had tan brown skin, long, dark, wavy hair, upturned eyes, and a wide nose. The first time I saw the film, my friends and I would point and laugh at different characters, saying how insane it was that they actually resembled people that we knew in our real lives. This had never really happened to us before. It wasn't until that point that I think I understood the importance of representation in media. You feel seen, you feel understood, and honestly, you feel a little less alone. Being a minority amongst minorities is a really interesting experience and position. I never assume that other people have heard of my island, my people, or where I'm from. Despite us being a part of the United States, and frankly a really important part of American history, I always expect to be unheard of. I get excited if anyone has even just heard of the general area that I'm from. For me, representation is the broad-scale acknowledgement of other lives that have been lived. It took 20 years for me to see a modicum of semblance to the life that I lived in Saipan. Everyone deserves to experience something like that, at least once. Si Zeus Ma'asi, thank you for listening.